Man, guess I'ma catch me a ride to church. Wake up early, find some slacks that'll match my shirt. But I think they dirty.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hi, everyone.
I'm Jermaine Core.
And I'm Conscious Core.
And welcome to another episode of Core Values.
So we started a series called Purpose Not Preference, and I think we ended at part 2, and I don't know how long it's been, but we are finally at part 3, and we're going to close off this series before any more time goes by.
Yeah, so in December, we actually have recorded the last episode, but we didn't post it because God did something crazy, and we wanted to add that testimony to the video.
Yeah, so we were talking about walking by faith. That's what we were initially going to do for this next video, or this video. But I think we're still talking about walking by faith, except it's like walking by faith literally.
Yeah.
So we didn't tell you the whole story in the testimony, the last video.
Yeah, so I mean, what you guys know is that we left Somerset, we left my mother's house, and we moved to Elizabeth. Without any place to move to. And it would seem as if, we were sleeping in our cars the whole time until, we was able to, get a place to stay. But that didn't actually happen. So we were planning to register the car in New Jersey after we got married. Conscious is originally from Louisiana, and it had, I think, Georgia registration.
Well, let me tell you, I lived in Louisiana and then I moved to Georgia. I think we talked about this in earlier videos. But when I realized that we would be getting married, in my head, I thought, well, I can just register my car when I get to New Jersey. What sense is there to, register my car, or I think complete the registration is what I had to do in Georgia when I knew that I would be moving to Somerset. Well, as it turns out, it's not just that I had to complete the registration on my car in Georgia, long story, but the registration was suspended, and I was all the way in New Jersey and had no way to get that corrected.
In Georgia, you're only required to have one license plate, usually on the back.
On the back.
And but in Jersey, you need both license plates on the front and the back.
So if you're looking at a car in New Jersey that does not have a license plate on the front, you don't think, oh, it must be a registered vehicle from the South. You think it's an unregistered vehicle. Should I say that? Two black people are in an unregistered car. It must be stolen. I've never seen these people in my life. So what do?
Call the cops.
You call the police.
So we were sleeping in our car, and we woke up in the morning and we were just talking about how wonderful how great
our
the Lord
fast
is.
was.
I mean, we were really on a roll just to go on a leap of faith and just trust God that everything was going to be okay. And a cop rolled up on us. And of course, my heart sunk to the bottom of my feet. But he rolled up on us and tapped on Conscious's window and was like, so we've been getting some calls in the neighborhood about a stolen car, and we just want to make sure that you guys were good. Well, he didn't say stolen.
He said unregistered. But,
Yeah. So he ran the plates, and of course, the car wasn't registered. And he came back and he said, well, I got some bad news. We're going to have to take the car. And it was like, but this is what do you mean take the car? Like, this is our home right now. Like, what you mean take our home? What you mean?
This is not really happening.
Yeah, so he called the tow truck. The tow truck rolled up, and they let us take what we could at the moment, which is like 2 suitcases and some other stuff, like a book bag or something like that.
Yeah.
And they took the car.
So as you can imagine, we are now walking around Elizabeth, New Jersey with 2 suitcases, 2 book sacks, and pretty much little to no money. The officer asked where he could take us, and by this time we had been in Dunkin' Donuts, 12 times already. So we were just like, you could take us up to the Dunkin' Donuts up the street, because we can't go to a motel, right?
Yeah, so imagine this scene. 2 cop cars, because it's 2 cop cars. The one had our stuff in it, the other had us in it. 2 cop cars go to a Dunkin' Donuts. 2 people get out with suitcases, and the cop cars pull off. So of course we just looking real suspicious, like, what is this couple?
A whole scene.
What is this couple getting this this police escort to Dunkin' Donuts for?
Of all places.
Yeah, and so we got out at Dunkin' Donuts. We took our stuff out the cop car, and we were just there, just brainstorming, about or really just trying to come to grasp with what really just happened?
Well, when I first saw my car being rolled away on the tow truck, I was thinking, well, maybe it's just sitting in storage until we find our place to stay. But that was only day one that I was so optimistic about the situation.
And mind you, the police officer who was, carrying out this whole process was just, really just trying to get his money's worth. Or it would seem like telling us, you guys got to get the car in 2 weeks or else it's going to be sold to auction. We're going to get you for not having any insurance, even though we had insurance.
Which that didn't happen.
He was just trying to just load us with, bad news and doom and gloom.
There was a ticket for suspended registration. We were told that we would have to pay court costs.
We were sitting in Dunkin' Donuts and we had a little bit of money, so we decided, let's spend a night in a motel.
We didn't start out having money. What happened was we were in the middle of selling our books and I knew someone who wanted to buy. So we called them up and I just mentioned, we're ready to take your order. How wonderful is that? This person, I'm not going to say their name, but sent $300. Had no idea what situation we were in. We, of course, still had to order the books, but that was more than enough for us to get a motel for that night.
Yeah, so we spent the night in the motel,
and we had something to eat.
Yeah, got something to eat. And it's funny because when we got something to eat, the restaurant server, the cashier, was like, yeah, I seen you guys earlier.
Yeah, we recognize you.
Yeah, you guys are the ones who came
got
out.
on the cop car.
Guys who rolled up with an escort to Dunkin' Donuts.
Something to be remembered by the city that you just came to, right?
Yeah, so that night, it was pretty easy going.
Yeah.
But eventually, we didn't have any more money for a motel. So when we ran out of money, we spent that night in a Dunkin' Donuts, a 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
And Kasha, she was sleeping, but I was awake because I wanted to keep watch on her. And it was really like a wow. What is this? What is this? But when in the morning after some prayer and just really just trying to figure out what's next, something just rose up in me. I was just like, you know what? This ain't it. God didn't bring us to Elizabeth to be sleeping in a Dunkin' Donuts.
And then he didn't send us to Elizabeth or this part of New Jersey to go back where we came from.
Yeah.
So that leads into the calls that we told you about in the previous video. If you have not seen it or you don't know exactly what we're talking about, you should go watch part 2, the testimony, so that you know the background story of what we are explaining right now.
Yeah. So after some prayer, God led me to call one of my friends who I met on Twitter. Actually, I knew that he lived in the area, and just one phone call. And that one phone call, as you guys, you see it in the video, the previous video. That one phone call led to a place to stay temporarily. And my friend, whose father, who we didn't know at the time, was also a pastor and a property owner, was able to.
You can't tell them everything. They have to go watch the video.
Okay, you guys gotta watch the video. But ultimately, that led to a place to stay permanently. So now we have a place to stay, but there's still some things that we gotta take care of. Not only do we lose the car, but we got this ticket I gotta take care of. I got court fees I gotta take care of. I got all these things that I gotta go through just because we lost the car at this time. So the court date came and we go to the court and talking with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor's like, so this is just a suspended registration. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so you're gonna get it registered? I'm like, yeah, of course. He's like, all right, I got this. So then the judge calls me to the front of the court, and he's just like, so what are you gonna do? And I'm like, wait, you ain't talked to the prosecutor? Y'all didn't have no conversations about what I was told to do? And the judge is just like, that's not between me and you, that's between you and the prosecutor. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So I'm just like, not guilty. He's like, okay, all right, see you in 4 weeks. So 4 weeks passed, and because we're at a new address, we didn't get the alert or the notice. We didn't get the notice
of the new court date.
Yeah, the new court date. So we missed it, and I called the court just to figure out when the date is, because I knew it was coming up close, and that's when they told us like, nah, that was yesterday. Like you got a was it a bench?
A bench warrant.
We got a bench warrant. So, and then I was like, we didn't get it, we moved. And then she's like, the person I was talking to would say, okay, come down and we'll get it all figured out.
And I'm not sure how, but they somehow confirmed that there was a mistake with the mailing address, which is the grace of God, because they could very easily say, well, we mailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we head down to the court, and it's a whole new different set of people that we're dealing with, and we bring the title,
license, registration, everything.
And so we're sitting in the court, and the judge calls me to the front, and he's just like, this is a new judge, by the way, and he's just like, so the prosecutor's telling me to throw this out, and I'm just like, is that true? And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, if you talk to her, that's true. And he's like, all right, case dismissed, goodbye, have a good day. And I'm just standing there like, wait, so you don't want to see the license, you don't want to see the registration, you don't want to see the papers, you don't want to see nothing?
You don't want to be paid for court? You don't want us to pay the ticket? That's nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. All of it tossed out, dismissed. And so that was done. God handled that. We went from having to pay a ticket and court fees and all that to not having to pay anything.
So getting the car out, initially we were told 2 weeks the car would be auctioned off, and then we were told 30 days the car would be auctioned off, or the paperwork would begin for the auction. It was 84 days before we could even look in the direction of getting the car out. And that means that for 84 days we were learning to be anxious for nothing. We were coming to understand how to position ourselves to receive the car versus being anxious or worried about if we could ever get the car back.
Yeah, we have to shift in our understanding of getting the car, because we were really pressed on figuring out ways of how to get it back. And it was through prayer that God revealed to us that we have to have that disposition of receiving the car back, because it was ours. It was taken from us, and it was rightfully ours.
Man, let me tell you though, the first day that we got the car, that the car was towed away, I was hopeful and all that stuff. But the second day, I just remember crying for like 20 minutes, and I remember Jermaine passing me tissues, not really knowing what's going on, but my heart was completely broken. And then it's like I heard my own voice say, "Girl, you crying like somebody died." And I just had to laugh. And I had to laugh about as hard as I cried. So that was the turning point, but that wasn't the end. We had to, like he said, change our perspective, receiving the car by faith versus trying to figure out how we were going to get the car back. So the total ended up to be $3,550. By the grace of God, he worked it out for us. But when we finally do see it, and I'm touching my car and it's cold, but I am reunited, the battery's dead.
Yeah. So even though the tow truck company was able to give us our car back, we couldn't go nowhere because the battery was dead. So we had one of the pastor that we're working with right now. God bless him. He arranged for the car to be towed to his house.
But there was still the concern about insurance, right? Everybody knows how insurance can be. You miss insurance once your policy is canceled, and then before you know it, you have a premium that is triple the amount that it was before. We didn't want that. But after that 1 month of not having coverage and then finally getting the car back, I went back to my insurance policy to see what was necessary for us to, get completely legal. Because now we know what could happen when your car is not legal. So we did not want that to happen again. I look at our insurance policy and I see some random incentive to keep our coverage with the providers that we had, where I could pay the amount that we were going to have to pay in the previous month to have coverage reinstated, and to have coverage reinstated, and there would only show a lapse in coverage. But that's not all. The following month we would have had to renew, but our premium or our monthly payments dropped from $180 a month to $125 a month. It did not go up, it went down.
Yeah. How do you lapse in your insurance coverage and your insurance goes down?
I don't know.
It's really just God.
So, we lost the car, we got it back. We lost insurance coverage, we got it back, and it went down.
Yeah, we got tickets but we didn't have to pay the ticket cost or the court fees
or the court fees
or any of these lawyers that would send a gazillion letters to my house.
Not only that, we left our city in New Jersey without a place to stay. There was not a day that we were ever hungry. There was not a day that our lives were in serious danger.
And so here we are, 3 episodes of the Purpose Not Preference series. And just to really just cap this whole thing off, when God moves you in your purpose, when God moves you in your calling, it's not going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people.
In the moment, it may not even make sense to you.
Yeah, not even you. But just know that God is always in control, and he's leading you. He's leading you. He's encouraging you. He's imploring you to embrace your purpose, and disregard your preference. Because ultimately, it's not about what we want. It's about what He wants. The thoughts that He has towards us are good and not of evil, to bring about an expected end according to His expectations and not ours.
The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but God wants, He wills that we have life and have it more abundantly. So even though our purpose may put us in a position that we don't preference, or that we don't necessarily believe that is necessary to get where God is taking us, I 100% believe that God has a way of cutting out certain processes that we think are necessary to get where we're going. God, his thoughts are higher than ours. His ways are not like ours. So His intentions or His targets are going to be different from ours. So He'll put us in processes to bypass a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, you'll have to go through a lot. You may have to go through some uncomfortable things, but you'll bypass a lot too, and you'll get in the purpose of God much quicker than you could if you were just sticking to your preferences and sticking to your understanding, or sticking to what would get you liked in life.
Yeah, we've had a plethora of misunderstandings with a lot of people, simply because we gave God our yes, and because it was us and not them, they didn't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
But to God be the glory. We know that in the end, things that don't make sense now will make complete sense when it is all over.
Yeah.
And this transition was something none of us could have seen or planned or
prepared for.
Yeah, prepared for. But it all makes sense now.
Yeah, and a lot of people, in fact, nobody knew exactly what was going on as we were transitioning. Now a few people know. Now you know. And we hope that you are so encouraged by it. So this ends the Purpose Not Preference series, but it does not end the Core Values webisodes.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Core Values. We hope that you were thoroughly blessed by this series, Purpose Not Preference. Be on the lookout for more to come.